All right. Hi, guys. Welcome back to PKFX YouTube trading channel. So this will be a very quick trade entry update. I've entered two different trades following the weekend game plan. One being gold and the two being the EURUSD. I'll start off with gold first, XAUUSD. So we'll quickly go through the top-down analysis for the weekly, daily, and the 4-hour. This is what I mentioned in the weekend game plan as well. So the weekly, this being the lower low and this being the lower high, gold has been pretty much dumping severely for the past few weeks, and I expect the same pattern to continue its trend downwards, at least to this particular line over here that may act as a support, a dynamic support eventually. So what I see is weekly is a sell, and if I go to the daily candlestick pattern as well, it is still a sell. This being the lower low and this being the lower high. Market had a good amount of pullback, but now today when it opened back again, I see a very beautiful rejection candle from this particular area that is also rejecting the previous structure point over here. So my expectation, obviously, because I'm in a sell mode, is for the market to continue to dump downwards and eventually come to this particular line over here that I'm expecting to be like some sort of resistance following this trend line over here for this wedge pattern. Now, don't take me wrong. Overall, I'm looking at gold as something that is extremely bullish for the upcoming months in the future. And this just looks like a pattern that would eventually break to the upside, right? So the long-term plan for gold is eventually for it to go up. But as traders, we only look at what's happening right now. Like we just look at the weekly candle, the daily candle, and the 4-hour candle. So for me, right now, gold is a sell, right? So the 4-hour candle, if I zoom in as well, is also a sell. This being the lower low, this being the lower high. So because I'm trading, looking at the higher time frame, the weekly, daily, 4-hour, all three is indicating a sell. Therefore, I'm taking a pro-trend trade, which is going with the market, going with the trend for a sell. In fact, if I look at the candle over here, this looks like some sort of an evening star formation. Now, of course, if this particular box over here was somewhere up like this, that would have been a very beautiful rejection, and the move is now going down, right? However, I do understand that this particular candle formation formed above the box. There would have been a chance for it to come back here, bounce, and continue the trend upwards as well. At that point of time, it would have hit my stop loss. I would say I'm lucky right now that it did not. And the market, ever since I entered over here, has been going down in my favor. So I'm going to continue to hold this particular trade, right? And also, I just want to highlight that 4,000 is a very strong, beautiful whole number, round number, right? That can act as a support. In fact, you can see the market came very close to it, touched, and literally flew back up, like it wicked all the way up. This is my early indication saying that this particular zone probably is going to be very difficult to be broken. So I'm going to continue to monitor this particular trade and see how it goes. But yeah, XAUUSD, I'm in a sell right now. That's gold. Now moving on to EURUSD. So EURUSD, I've already entered the trade for a sell. So very quickly, the weekly, if I look at the weekly candlestick pattern, this is the lower low and this is the lower high. The weekly is a sell. It broke below this particular box over here. If I zoom in, it broke below the round psychological number and it closed below last week. So this week when it opened, obviously it's going to have some sort of a retracement, but weekly is a sell, and daily is also a sell, this being the lower low and this being the lower high. And right now it's going through some retracement. And if I look at the 4-hour, right, the 4-hour is also a sell. So once again, this is the lower low, this is the lower high. So weekly, daily, 4-hour is a sell. I'm going with the trend for a sell. Now, I also have to bear in mind that this particular trade right now is in a drawdown. Hopefully this 4-hour EMA will hold as a resistance like how it held over here. But if it breaks above this and it breaks above this structure point, most probably my stop loss will be hit. In that case, I'm expecting the market to completely reverse and continue its direction over there. I do not want to be wicked out. That's why I placed about 64 pips over here for the stop loss to be above this particular box, this particular zone, so that I've given ample amount of space for it to run. But this is a 1 to 2 risk to reward trade. And when I actually entered, the 30 minutes and the 1 hour shifted into a sell. In fact, this was the shift of structure, and this was the engulfing pattern that continued the trend upwards. When it had a pullback, right, before breaking this particular point or this particular point, when I saw this is where I entered. But ever since I entered, I see that the market has been trending upwards right now, so I'm in a little bit of a drawdown. If the market takes over this particular point, then it may spell trouble for me, right? But I'm going to continue to hold. I'm not going to close out this particular trade just because it has flipped the lower time frames EMA into a support and also has broken the round psychological number. As long as this trade is particularly buffering inside this box, I'm still okay to hold this particular trade, and I'll see how it goes. Because this is not a counter trend trade, this is a pro trend trade. So I'm hoping that the market will eventually go back down again. But again, market is probability, right? We cannot be hoping for a trade. We just let the market to play out and see what happens. So yeah, that's two trades that I'm currently holding. EURUSD for a sell and gold for a sell. I did look at AUD JPY, which looked pretty promising. This particular trade can also act as a sell because the weekly is a sell, the daily is a sell, and the 4 hour is also a sell. And right now, if I look at purely the candlestick price action over here for this particular trade, I see a beautiful rejection and another beautiful rejection forming over here. So this box over here indeed is acting as a very strong resistance for the market to break above and fly above. But I want to see how the candle is going to close for the 4 hour candlestick. If I see a strong 4 hour candlestick breaking below like this, right, at that point of time, it is literally forming a beautiful, head and shoulders pattern. Well, technically this would be the head and shoulders and a retest. So the pattern is not really there, but a break below with a 4 hour candlestick closing confidently below here, then a pullback would be a good entry point for a sell. This would be a 1 to 3 risk to reward, AUD JPY. But yeah, I'm going to continue to monitor this particular trade. I'm not entering this yet, but if I see a 4 hour candle closing strongly below, then at that point of time, any sort of a pullback will be a good entry point for AUD JPY sell. So that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for your time and all the very best for the upcoming week, and take care. Good luck.